people. Just decided I was gonna make all these videos and post stuff on a regular basis, and then a week later I don't post anything. I apologize for that. Um, it was interesting. I was just watching some movies the other day, and I watched Pump Up the Volume with Christian Slater, which is one of my favorite movies. I always forget when I decide to like list movies I enjoy. Like Chasing Amy always comes to mind. Aliens always comes to mind. But Pump Up the Volume a lot of times escapes me, and it really it was interesting watching it now. Christian Slater I think is awesome in that movie. It was filmed here in Arizona. I think Paradise Valley is Paradise Hills. So two of my favorite movies. One is Can't Buy Me Love, which was in Tucson. Patrick Dempsey, another great film, and then Pump Up the Volume. Now that was interesting because Christian Slater's character, he's a kid, and his family moves him from New York to here, and he has all this equipment, so he gets a pirate radio station, and he goes on every night at 10 o'clock. Is Happy Harry Hard On. It's really cool, and he just talks about the world. He talks about feelings. Talks about just being whatever he wants. He's rude. He pretends to masturbate a lot, which I think is funny. Happy Harry Hard On. And then he talks about the corruption in the school and the principal and everything. And that was interesting because it kind of forecasted what like this and what we do now as far as podcasting, the TikTok world, all this stuff where we can all sit down and have a voice because at the end of the movie is he's caught finally and he's like, you have a voice, use it, get out there, do talk hard. So he's saying talk hard. And in the end, they have these different clips, these audio clips of, hey, this is radio, whatever. Is anybody listening? And I thought it was really cool. It had kind of a forecast of how things would be in terms of fighting back against the man, speaking out against the corruption. Don't let the people in power get away with what they're doing with that power, which I thought was really cool. And again, Christian Slater, I actually got to see him once in a backlot Warner Brothers on a tour. That's right, I'm name dropping now. I am name dropping. I mean, it was like, dude, Christian Slater, and he was like, hey guys, and then we went on with our tour. But still, I met him. But I thought it was really, again, because he's like, 10 o'clock, got to go on, and then some. As the movie progresses, a few moments, he's like, he doesn't want to, and some bad things happen. There's a kid who writes because they can write letters, and if they leave a number, he'll call. And one kid was like wanting to commit suicide, and what do you say? He was like just bantering with him, and then the kid committed suicide. So he's like, I shouldn't do this anymore. And then when he saw that it's causing a movement, and his phrases are being plastered on the school walls, he's like, I shouldn't do this. But he keeps coming back, and so I have to remember that even though it's kind of a pain to set this table up and sit down, and this mic will not sit how I want it to right now. There it is. That I have to keep doing it because this is what I want to do. I don't know if anybody will watch. I don't know if anybody will care. I mean, this has been 3 minutes. People are probably like, okay, this is boring. But I don't care. This is a fun platform, and I think a lot of people should use the ability to have these kind of recordings and channels and podcasts to just kind of speak your mind. The thing I love about Kevin Smith and watching his show several times is at the end of it, he's like, we all have talent, we all have creativity, we all have a voice. Use it. It may be this medium, it may be art, it may be music, it might be sports, it might be politics, it might be uh, whatever it is. But we all have the ability to create and put ourselves out there, and I love that. And it's kind of what made. I'm kind of glad I met Vanessa then, because we could do this and do this podcast because we've got 74 episodes. I just saw that, and after I record this and upload this, we're probably going to get together and record another. So stay tuned for that. But I thought I would do something where I would just kind of, like I said, sometimes I just want to bring up my X feed and just see what's going on in the world and kind of go from there. Which was interesting. I was looking through here a little bit ago. I mean, there's still a lot of stuff on here going on about Maui and the tragedy that happened there, but I'm still kind of filtering through because, like I said, I don't want to just put stuff out before I kind of see what it is and what's going on. I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, I just read this on a tweet, and then a day later it's like, oh, that wasn't necessarily what was going on. Did you hear that car? That car was pretty. No, denoise. Denoise. Probably couldn't hear it. But so I got to be careful. But the thing that I found out here a lot, it's so interesting, is, and I don't see much of it today, because the Maui thing, like I said, I'll get on that in one of these future videos. I'll get on that, and then there's a lot of trafficking stuff, and there's a lot of Epstein stuff that's popping up as far as symbolism, showing from the island and that little weird building he has with the stripes and the dome and things like Ellen DeGeneres' stage when she had her show, and it's the same kind of scheme and colors, and it's weird the Disney logo is very similar in terms of structure and style to it, which would not surprise me. I mean, come on, Mickey Mouse Club, what they did to all those kids, but the thing I can't seem to find, something that was bothering me with this was like all the indictments and stuff. The I try not to use the Mr. T Man. I try not to use his name too much because I'm afraid on this platform that would hit an algorithm which would cause me to be potentially not allowed. I thought about actually moving this as well to another site as well, because Rumble is out there, which allows anyone to speak at any time, even if you're not on the side of the conservatives like they are, which is kind of cool. Where this platform is a little tricky because they may or may not let you speak if they don't like what you're saying, because that's where a lot of people went from here to there, because they couldn't, even though what they were saying, like especially when it came to COVID stuff, ended up being true when it came to mask efficacy and everything. So, but the thing is with the indictments, I thought it was very interesting because there's a, like I said, there's a podcaster I listen to, and he makes me think. It's so cool. Sometimes I think of stuff, and then I'll listen to an episode, and he'll actually say what I'm thinking. So people probably could say, "Oh, look, you're just his echo chamber," because that's the buzzword now, is echo chamber, which I think is interesting, because if you're using that term, then that means you're kind of being an echo chamber, because you're using the term that other people have used itself to say, "Hey, you're just saying what other people are saying, so I'm going to call you what other people are." My mind just spun. I think I got brain freeze. But I think it's interesting because I thought about, and from the things that I've read and listened to, that these indictments, they are truly, in a lot of ways, taking things that other people have done and turned it around onto him, or things that people in his situation have done, but he's now being trying to be held accountable for it. And it's the two-tier system of justice, and I get that. One side can basically get away with murder, especially if you were a Secretary of State back in the day. Benghazi, anyone? But that you can get away with that. You can get away with secret personal email servers, destroying evidence, and everything, and that's fine. But the other side, well, no. And because I thought about like the Manhattan indictment, which was the Stormy Daniels one, the hush money, because so he had a sex probably with a porn star. Because that mattered, that a citizen back in the day that was a billionaire playboy celebrity hooked up with someone that might have been the Playboy Mansion or porn industry. I mean, oh my gosh. I mean, we had a president back in the day that had his mistress stay with him in the White House, and that was okay. We had another man on a blue dress in the Oval Office while he was married, and lied about it under oath, and that was okay. And the common denominator between those two is they had the big D. By that I mean Democrat. Who knows about the big D otherwise? I mean, could have been. I don't know. But I think it's interesting. I get sidetracked sometimes with the Stormy thing, because it's interesting. He's getting indicted for paying her off, even though there's a document out there that says there was no affair, there was no payoffs. Signed, Stormy Daniels. And it's like, I could look it up right here, probably find it. But then they're like, Brian, that was signed under duress. And you're like, okay. But it was signed. I mean, there's NDAs out there all over the place that have been signed. Do you think these women necessarily wanted to sign them? I mean, do you know how many people in positions of power, celebrities, politicians, that probably have done stuff with men and women, boys and girls, and had people sign stuff off. That's so cliche and commonplace in that world. It's not right, but it's commonplace. But here's this guy, here's him, and he's gonna try to be indicted over that. And it's like, okay, so you're taking things that have happened on the other side and happen all around in that rich ecosystem, and yet it's his indictment that's there, and everybody else is just like, ha. And I know it's different because everything when it comes to these indictments is different when it comes to anything that's an orange indictment. But it's just interesting with that one because at first I was just kind of like, I still don't understand the point of it. I mean, I understand the point of indictments. It hit during a moment which Biden and Hunter and the family were getting hit with information and new stuff, and so we had to misdirect. And then it puts, a trial date on the docket. It's money. It's draining him of the ability to campaign and have money for advertising and do what you have to do, because unfortunately we can't just let people run for president. We have to make them spend money, tons of money, to run for president. But only the two main sides. We can't let independents or Green Party candidates or libertarians. They're not. They're stay away. You're not allowed. So I thought it was funny in the sidebar. Democrats are all about green, 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 right? It's Green Initiative, Green New Deal. But they won't let or allow a Green Party candidate to even want to run for president. Why is that? Why? Why do they not want a party candidate that would be all about what they want and a Green Party candidate? That's always kind of baffled me because they're not even allowed in the debate stage. No, 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 no. You're not allowed. It's got to be R versus D. I still try to figure out why. I mean, even in the election system, it's like we don't let people, like even right now with the Democratic side, it's like RFK Jr. wants to run. He said, "I'm running," but you think Biden will allow a debate? You think he'll allow him to do anything? They've already said no one's allowed to run. I mean, they've probably already told Gavin. Well, I still think Gavin's going to take over because I still think Biden will be removed for health reasons or family reasons, or he'll cite something sweet and kind, and a reason he has to drop out probably within a few months here, because things are just getting bad for him. Because it seems like every other day there's a new whistleblower or a new bank record or a new suspicious activity report that they figured out, and they're running out of ways to misdirect. Because I mean, between fires, indictments, I mean, how many more indictments could they do? Arizona too, but we'll see what happens in the Georgia one, Fulton County, even though that's falling apart because the DA, girl with, the DA with all the pictures look like she has an OnlyFans account, which again, if she does, that's fine. But it's still funny. But so yeah, the Stormy Daniel one, the Manhattan one, that one is kind of like, okay, you're trying to charge him for doing things that have been done over and over and over. And if you don't think that people like Paula Jones and Monica got paid off their time with Billy, I mean, come on now. And then there's the classified document one, DC one. That's the one that's just so stupid. That's the one that gets me the most because, again, two-tier system of justice. It's try to, and again, I understand these aren't about actually trying to get him for anything, because even if he got convicted of either one of these, he could still run. He could still be president. I get the game. It's to get you to continue to hate him. It's part of the smear. It's derail the campaign. It's bleed him out of money. I understand because again, the cases themselves just seem so why. I mean, no one's been indicted or raided, because no president before got raided. Not the Clinton sock drawer. Not not her devices before they were destroyed. Not Obama's storage facilities. Not Biden's think tank, his house with his boxes by his precious Corvette that almost got burned up in a fire. You Maui people, you don't know what it's like. He almost lost his Corvette. I mean, wow. I mean, think about perspective, people. Perspective. That Corvette is precious. And he almost lost it. I mean, a little teary. No, but But a vice president has all these classified documents and stuff on China, Ukraine, stuff that has to do with Burisma, Privet Bank, Hunter, the whole deal. and it's okay. He gave a few back, and the archives said, well, "Hey, you got some?" He said, "Sure, here's 12 documents. I'm going to keep the other 120 or so thousand." But again, no indictments there, no raiding of his property, no special counsel, no nothing. The Clintons, the Obamas. I mean, Dick Cheney. I'm sure he took stuff when he's vice president. I'm sure Bush Senior, whew, he probably had a crap ton of stuff. All the things that he allegedly was possibly involved in. But this guy, as a president who has declassification powers, because I've listened to a lot of people say that, yes, it's as easy as saying this cup of water is now declassified. And it's declassified. He doesn't have to show it to 10 people and say, "Hey guys, look, I'm declassifying, just so you know, just here, just no." And I understand he took the Crossfire Hurricane documents, which were the spying on him, the Russia hoax, because the Russia thing was just so fun. Again, the flip-a-roo thing where the team and the group against him in 16 had Russian contacts and Russian connections. And then when he unexpectedly won, because no one expected that man to win. No, he didn't even. Remember him saying that he had this small little ballroom because he was like, "Oh, this is cool. This was fun. Let's go back to doing what we're doing." And it was like, "Dude, you won." He's like, "What? What?" And that's why Melania was like, "Crap. I gotta deal with these people for 4 years." And it's like, dude, lady, I get you, because we're the worst. But I don't know the Russian thing, and he, I think one of these indictments, no, it was the submersible that came up during the John Durham report, when the Durham report finally showed that all the Russian stuff was not the Orange Man or that camp at all. I mean, the Manafort, this campaign manager who got busted for it, for sitting down with a Russian, Russian agent or something. Who is this guy? We don't know who this guy is. What did he say? He tried to get dirt on Hillary, and it's like, and then fast forward like 6 years later, and it's like, oh, this guy was, yeah, we kind of know who he is. He was he was a State Department source since 2013. Who was president in 13? Who was vice president in 13? Who was Secretary of State? Who were the people? I'll give you a second. Here, think about it. Look it up. Go ahead. Yeah, you guessed it. Yeah, Barry was, and Mr. Peters. Those were the two guys in charge. Um, which is, the aliases are so funny. I mean, my gosh. But yeah, it's like, so the Russia thing. They were did it, so which means if her, because the I'm with her, so is Russia, decided to do this and spy on T Man as a candidate, as president elect, and as president, as was shown in the documents, someone had to give the okay for that, and someone was president at that time. I'm trying to figure out who again. Yeah, Barry. So again, they're flipping around, and that's where the smear campaign started. And if you're not curious about a smear campaign, look up on this platform Nancy Pelosi smear campaign, and she'll tell you all about it. She tells it in generalized views, but still, she'll spell it all out. And you have to have the media on board, because the media cannot rat you out. They have to stay on board. And then you have to get the people on the other side, because because again, the BlackRock CEO or whistleblower, wasn't CEO, made it very clear that it's very easy to buy a congressman or a senator. It takes like 10,000. You take the rhinos, you take the old guard, and you say, okay, well, if you do this and you don't support him, you try to stab him in the back, we will take care of you. So again, the Russia thing, what they said was his. It was really the other side. Just because he had a working relationship with Putin, I mean, why is that a bad thing? He sanctioned the hell out of him. He fired Tomahawk missiles on his mercenaries in Syria. I mean, I don't get it. And it's interesting how, as much as Putin's been just a horrible dictator, people don't have anything. How he's fighting back against pedophilia. We're going to chemically castrate pedophiles. Sex change operations for kids? Nope. GMOs? Nope. I see what it's doing to the Western food and the Western people out there. Nope. Which I think is so interesting. I think they saw eye to eye on some stuff like that, especially in the trafficking, especially in the Ukrainian area, where it's really rumored to, organ harvesting, trafficking, money laundering, biolabs, the whole nine. And to talk about a hub of just corruption, not the people, but the people in charge. I'll have to do another one about, you know, just in case you don't know about Burisma and Hunter and all the things that went on there, and just the from like 2014 on, and the corruption. Because again, the quid pro quo, again, the flip-a-roo, the impeachment, when he called Ukraine to say, okay, we won't necessarily give you this aid anymore unless you give me the information on Burisma and Hunter and everything with the Bidens and the money and everything that's going on, because he finally realized it, and immediately impeached him, shut him down. And but yet it's the Bidens and Joe, because it's a very, I've seen the video so many times talking about him getting Shokin, the prosecutor, fired there because he was looking into Hunter and Burisma. And again, quid pro quo and abuse of power and holding back $1 billion loan guarantee. And he held it back until the famous line where he said, "Son of a bitch," fired the prosecutor. The leaked video voicemail later with him and Poroshenko, who was president then, which Poroshenko's like, he didn't do anything wrong, but I fired him. And Biden's like, good, good. And, you know, what does the mainstream media do? Nothing. They don't do a thing. But they turn that story then around. Oh, look, Trump was impeached for quid pro quo and abuse of power. But, that's it's different. It's different. He's a loving father. The son was just in a bad place. Gosh. So these indictments, again, the classified document thing, which is a joke because he's president. And the guy I listened to also made a point, because it's like they were in folders that said, what was it, SSCI, or was that the official label? And it's like, okay, because he worked around the Secret Service, and he's like, okay, if the Secret Service has, like, Joe just went to Florida. They got him off the Delaware beach, and he went to Florida and wandered around and didn't know where to go. And climate change. And where's my ice cream? Where's a girl to sniff? Um, sorry. Where was I going? Oh yeah. Where was I going with that? I don't remember what I was going to say. I actually had to stop the video to remember, because I went completely blank. I was like, it's when I mimicked Joe, the big guy, Mr. Peters. I actually went into like dementia mode. I'm like, seriously, it's like that's what it's like to be him. I almost went like, wow, that was trippy. No, because I was going to say that. So his route is classified, right? Because that's what I'm saying with the if he takes a trip, and his route is classified, and it's in the documents, and it's got the right labels, and it's in the folder, and goes to Florida, does the route, does the trip, and then when he comes back and the trip is over, well, it's no longer classified. It still has the markings of classification, and it's going to be put away and filed, but it's not classified. So if he has stuff that's sitting in there that says classified, it doesn't mean it's currently classified, or it was at one point, but not now. So not only could he say this isn't classified, I'm declassifying this, like all the Crossfire Hurricane and the Obamagate stuff that he did when he left, because he actually did the Obamagate stuff and then it was released, and it took what, a couple years for them to raid and go after, because again, this isn't about anything but just trying to smear and trying to find something in the smoking gun, and they're like, oh, we got the pool boy, he drained the pool and there was water. Like, really, so destroying hardware and software and bleaching your hard drives, that's okay. But a guy drains a pool, and it's, again, everything is flipped. Everything that this side has done, because this is my left hand, they're blaming it on this side, which is the right hand. And that's what I say. These indictments are just. And then the election challenge. Do I really have to get into that? I mean, I posted. If you follow me on Facebook, you saw, and I could post it over and over. The video. Gosh, I don't know why I'm so gassy, but the show will just continue to go on. Of Democrats, up and down, including Hillary herself, denying elections from 2000, 2004, 2016, 2018, even going back to 1960, which was one of the worst ones, in which the first electors up on deck gave their electors, even though JFK won, to Senator Byrd, which I thought was really strange, because he was the guy, the KKK guy that was Biden's mentor. Because, again, in the who is racist category, really, do we have to compare that? Again, if you don't like the Orange Man, that's cool, but come on with the racist, really. Jesse Jackson praised him, Oprah praised him, Barry Obama praised him back in the day, saying he was kind, caring, giving. They wanted to be like him. He was loved, revered, respected. He was a narcissist and a jerk and kind of a dick, but he wasn't hated until he put that Republican designation, got in office and said, "What the hell are you all doing? Uh-uh. I'm tearing this down." And they're like, "Whoa, indict, 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 smear, racist, bigot." It's like interesting. It's so interesting to me. Like I said, if you don't want to vote for the dude because you just don't vote Republican. I get it. That's cool in the gang. You do you. I mean, this is how you want things to be because this is today's version of the Democratic Party. It is socialistic in nature. It is communistic in nature. It is authoritarian. It is this version of it. Mandates, lockdowns, shutdowns, censorship. I mean, it really is. If that's what you want. I mean, people are flooding the leftist cities like Portland, San Francisco, L.A. Chicago's a mess. I saw videos from Philadelphia, where it's like they look like zombie town, and I know I'm gonna get crap for saying that, but it's not your fault. It's your representation's fault. Because again, you can live in one of these cities. I'm living in a city that's falling apart too because we have a joke of a governor that got in on very suspicious ways and has very suspicious funding through cartels. But I'm not allowed to really say that because again, we don't have a mainstream media. If you don't have a mainstream media, you don't have anything. It's just like the Me Too movement. Nobody cared about Epstein, Weinstein, Cosby, all the stuff that they knew was going on forever until the mainstream media said, "Hey, this is happening and we should do something about it." And then suddenly it's like, "Oh, Me Too." It's like, where were you guys for so long? We're so stupid. An anchor at a desk reading a teleprompter has to tell you to be involved or passionate about something or care about something instead of the information that we can get now is all here. This is where we get it from your news desk. Don't be stupid. Just seriously, don't be stupid. Listen to them just to get the highlights of what's going on in the world and then go there. But I'm trying to stay on target because I'm almost done. Stay on target. It came from behind. Um, but it's just so interesting to me. Like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about that as far as these indictments. Uh, because of classified document one, like I said, it's insane. The 1961 was crazy. They were changing electors. They fought on that one. And then in 2000, three Supreme Court three Supreme Court challenges. Florida took forever to call, as they wouldn't stop, and clip after clip, illegitimate, illegitimate, illegitimate. 16, violence in the streets of D.C. Cities was on fire. The inauguration, they were worried about people breaking through. Thankfully, they didn't have police because they actually used the police and the Capitol Police, unlike what they did on January 6th, where they were just like, "Hey guys, look, the Capitol, come take a selfie. We got you." Which again, that's a whole other video because I'm still gathering information on that, especially the new bombshells today about facial recognition and some of the people that they saw and now know who they are that were wandering around the Capitol that day. Plus Ray Epps, all things Ray Epps, in which Ray Epps was there at a protest and at a demonstration and at a rally and at a riot. But the other man, the T man, he was at an it was an insurrection when we talk about him. Again, everything is and now it's like he provided aid and comfort, reading right out of the 14th Amendment. It's like, dude, just making stuff. Okay, but aid and comfort, yeah. March peacefully and patriotically. There's your aid and comfort. It's so stupid. Everything is manufactured. Everything. That's why I say to people, look, you don't hate the man. You don't. They hate him, which is why this is going on, and they don't want you to want him. And they're still trying to sell you on the fact that the other guy got 81 million votes. It's like, so, yeah, okay, you got that guy, sure. But I guess I'm just trying to put some stuff out there, just be like, hey, just look. You don't have to like the man. You don't. But would you want anybody in this country being treated this way and being gone after like I've never seen? The only people I can think of that was gone after this hard was, again, I think I've said it, MLK, because he was trying to change the system. They tried to get him to kill himself, and then eventually was assassinated. Nixon, who was going to speak out. Bam, Watergate, which a defense person turned media reporter suddenly found all these documents. JFK, we all know what happened to him. Edward Snowden, when he said, "Wait, whoa, my program, why are you spying? What are you doing? I'm taking my toys and I'm going to Russia." I mean, and that's the thing is when it comes to the 16 election, it ain't Russia. It wasn't Russia because her side was working with that. It was her source. And the consulate in Russia that the Steele dossier kind of helped come from, which Christopher Steele was a joke too. There's no consulate of Russia in Miami where they said it was. There's none. It was all fabricated because they didn't think he was going to win, and they didn't want him to find out what they were doing, because then you would find out what they were doing. And while you normally don't care if there's corruption, as long as it's on your side, you should care, because this corruption that's going on now is going to affect your daily life and your kids. Well, or at least kids. Yours could be safe, but shouldn't we care about all of them? And isn't it scary if the old Joe or Mr. Peters is sitting on camera saying your kids are our kids? Now, I don't care if he meant, I meant he's at the village raising. No, that's not what he meant. And Hillary's like, it's a village. No, it's not a village. I mean, they're going to try to create one in Maui, I think. I really think that's the first stages of Little Epstein Island, Pacific Ocean. But again, I just had to come on and do this for a half hour because I just see it. I see what's going on. Is the Trump man, has he done stuff wrong in his life? I'm sure he has. Has he broken some laws? I'm sure he has. Has he grifted? I'm sure he has. Has he defrauded things? I'm sure I mean, apparently he misinterpreted his wealth. I I used to tell people I have more money than I have too, but you know, I can, everybody else can, and the Pelosi's can get rich off insider trading. But again, this is all just hate him, don't vote for him, and then can just conform and comply to whatever it is that we do after we remove him. It's clear, even his lawyers, how people are like he can't get representation. It's like, dude, lawyers and law firms have been investigated and gone after financially that wanted to represent him. There's lawyers, I heard him on a podcast saying that his firm, there was a firm, I can't remember the firm, even if I wanted to, one of the top firms, I guess, in the East Coast. He's like, we wouldn't go near it because we got threatened with all kind of things. We knew it would be just a nonstop barrage because the guy who's running the Department of Justice had his Supreme Court seat taken from him. And if you don't think that he was on a vendetta, that he doesn't have motive, I mean, if you don't believe that, you believe everything's just pure and honest, and it's just the T-Man just committed some crimes, then he's just, time for him to be held accountable at this stage, right as primary season starts. But the thing I think is funny is, in closing, is that I know the Fulton County one's starting to fall apart because of the allegations now against that DA, which I think is funny because it's being dubbed as right-wing extremists going after her. It's like, how about people who just found out that she might be just as crooked as the guy she's trying to indict? But it's okay. Just like Jack Smith, the DC one. I guarantee you, we'll never hear about it. It'll be, not covered. But once this thing is done, I'm sure he'll be probably running for some sort of office because that's what they'll do. They'll give him something for going after him and having nothing. Jack Smith's record has been overturn and appeal, overturn and appeal, overturn and appeal. It's not a great record. But they get the people that will do what they're told. Sell the soul and go for it. So that's just kind of what I wanted to talk about. I mean, again, everything, classified documents, really, singling him out, really, all because, again, he has the Crossfire Hurricane documents, and that they do not want him to have. He had the Obamagate released, which they did not like. And again, the Russia thing, the 16 election, just my last little thought. If there's any outside influence that swung that election, it was WikiLeaks. I've always thought that. Julian Assange, which is why they went after him as well. Because they put out what she is, and people said no. And I remember, I think it was Megyn Kelly that interviewed Assange and said, well, are you going to start putting stuff out against Donald as well? Because, I'm sure there's stuff. And they said, there's some things, but nothing like this. There's nothing on that level. They didn't put anything out. He didn't have them. He didn't buy them. He wasn't in their pocket. He didn't have anything at that level. Again, you could not like the guy. He's a narcissist. He's loud, obnoxious. I get it. He's done some bad things. He's, cheated on his wife. He's had sex. I mean, I think it's funny because I know people out there who have mocked that side of him, and it's like, do you know I know about some of your personal life? I mean, but I guess if you're a president, you're never allowed to have done anything wrong. But the rest of us sitting around, we can be the biggest whores on the planet. It's interesting, huh? But yeah, that was my little thoughts on that. Again, I'm gonna try to pump up the volume this more often. Um, Christian Slater inspired me. Just again, just as we do in our podcast, just think about it. These are things that I've seen. These are things that I've read, and some of the stuff like the Russia thing, Durham, I've been reading about for a couple of years. Just like when I hit the Ukraine and Burisma stuff later, it's going to be like a good 4 years worth of research. I think I'm pretty well able and capable of understanding what is probable, what is possible, and what is BS. And that's all I ever want to do is just think: is this possible? Is it possible that our United States government, that faction of it, is going after one man to keep him from tearing them all down? Because that's the narrative now, is that he's going to tear down democracy. No, he's going to cut out that cancer and remake how we're supposed to make it. Because again, the big problem, the deep state, or whatever you want to call them, liberals, whatever you want to call them, this version of the Democratic Party, the thing that they hate the most, the thing they have the most issue with is the Constitution. That's the biggest thing they have an issue with. Just like you look at Clarence Thomas, going after him hardcore. Why? Because he voted based on the Constitution to repeal their ability to just kill babies whenever they want, and then took away their, few other things, which this court has been kind of fair as far as going back and forth. They're not on party lines, but when you put constitutionalists in there, the issue you're going to have is with the Constitution. That's what these Supreme Court justices are supposed to be. And so he got some perks and took some trips. I'm sure every justice has done that, especially after some time. But I think it's interesting because the left is going after the black guy. They're very inclusive. They're not racist at all. But yeah, so that's that for this episode. Thanks for watching. Again, if you like me or don't like me but still want to support me, go ahead and subscribe, follow, turn your notifications on. At least watch for a little bit so I get a view. Leave a comment if you want. If you're like, hey, dude, that was awesome, or you really are stupid, here, check this, I'll gladly read it. And it's like, I don't care. This is just my views, how I see it. Tell me how you see it. Use your voice. Again, we all have something to say. Let's do it. Let's go. So, yeah, so I'm going to hit the close, and I will see you next time.